Welcome to another episode of Painfully Fabulous. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Christine. We are CRPS Warriors and here to remind you
When life is painful, you can still be fabulous.
Welcome to another Painfully Fabulous interview. Today we are joined by Sally Fowler. She is an amazing CRPS warrior who's had a very powerful CRPS story, leading her to helping other CRPS warriors and chronic illness patients on their journey with her service dog business, Disabled Advantage Dog Training and Consulting. Today we will talk about her CRPS and get to know more about her dogs and dog training business.
Thank you today for joining us, Sally. To start off, do you mind telling our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am currently a online service dog trainer. I have full body CRPS type 1 and type 2. And I have had CRPS for 15 years now. It started when I was in college, learning to be a horse trainer. And actually happened from a horseback riding accident. I got my arm twisted behind my back by an older horse who ran away with me. And I didn't have access to any healthcare because I was an out-of-state student. And so I had the campus nurse who I went into her office with a purple arm, and was not prepared to handle anything of this magnitude and said, okay, so I think this is minor nerve damage that should go away in 6 to 8 weeks. Take some ibuprofen and here's an ice pack.
Oh no.
Which, as we all know, is really, really bad.
Yeah.
So I iced like crazy for 6 to 8 weeks, and it just got worse and worse. And at the same time, I was also doing a scholarship where I worked in the barn. So I was constantly chucking hay and feeding horses and cleaning stalls and sweeping barns, which was horrendously painful. And I was also doing a scholarship as the sports photographer for the marketing department. So I was shooting a lot of sports with my camera. Because prior to college, my plan was to be a horse trainer who would work with problem horses and also have an equestrian fine art photography business. And that all went away. But during college, I ended up had to quit riding horses after about the first semester, really. We put me through a challenge day where my requirement was, can you successfully take care of 2 horses and ride in a day? And by the end of it, the only way I could actually get off of my horse was I had to just throw my body off of the horse and land on the ground because I was in so much pain. And my instructors told me that the way I was riding, I was in so much pain from mostly my shoulder, but it was weird. I felt the pain in my wrist, but it went all the way through my whole arm. And they said that the way I was riding was making my horse move differently. And so that was also a sign for me to stop riding because I didn't want to be inadvertently changing the biomechanics of a horse. I ended up, yeah.
Sorry, let me interrupt you. I just wanted to ask you now, is this prior to diagnosis, or have you been diagnosed yet?
I had not been diagnosed yet. I was running around telling people I was injured.
Okay.
Prior to college, I started riding horses when I was 7, so it was really hard to give up riding horses. But I did that, and then I really didn't want to drop out of college. I actually had a lot of people encouraging me to drop out of college, but I wanted to push it through and complete what I was trying to do. And so I ended up picking up a lot of extra classes, which turned out to be perfect for running your own business one day. And for a little while, I got into shooting collegiate and independent professional baseball, both at college and as summer internships. And we thought I was going to be a professional baseball photographer for a little while. And then the CRPS spread to my neck and my rib cage and made it really hard to hold a camera. And that was devastating because I've also been taking photos since I was 10.
Wow, Sally.
And
Oh, sorry. No,
watching no, sorry, it's just watching the quality of my work go downhill from my hands shaking so much from the camera was really hard. And so I drifted for a while until my boyfriend at the time was like, "Hey, what if we got you a service dog to help you be a photographer?" And things went a completely different direction, but the service dog changed everything.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, did you go through all of that without a diagnosis, Sally?
Most of it, yeah. Um,
Wow.
so while I was in college, I got my freshman year. My dad brought me home for the first summer. So between freshman and sophomore year, and he took me to some of the top neurologists in North Carolina, which is where I'm from. And that neurologist took one look at me and said, "So what you're describing, and based on these tests I've run on you," he did like, can you hold your hand a certain way? And can you hold your arm out for a certain amount of time? Stuff like that. Um, and he said, well, based on what you're describing, this sounds a lot like reflex sympathetic dystrophy, but that's really rare. So that there's no way this is that. And they put me on everything they possibly could. They put me on Lyrica, they tried Cymbalta, they tried all of the nerve medications. I, depending on how you look at it, failed or passed a nerve conduction study. Also failed or passed all of the x-rays and MRIs that they tried to run on me. And we really wish that someone had thought to look at my shoulder. Everybody was focused on my wrist because in the riding accident, that's where I felt the pain, is I felt a really sharp pop and then heat flowed through my arm. What we know now, we learned this about 2 years ago, is my right collarbone is actually flipped and it's in the wrong position.
Oh,
And we
no.
think it's been that way for 15 years.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And I went to a bunch of doctors across North Carolina and Missouri, and both of them, because that's where I was attending college and that's where I am now. And yeah, they put RSD on the table, but they always dismissed it because, and it kept getting put on the table and then being taken off because PT didn't cure me, or because nerve medication didn't cure me, or because I wasn't the worst presentation they'd ever seen of it, or because I kept being able to do stuff. And I kept being able to do stuff because I had a lot of really unsupportive people in my life, my family included, who said, "Oh, you're just making it up for attention," or my one of my favorite ones was my dad tried to put me on antidepressants because losing my mom at a young age surely caused CRPS a bunch of years later.
Oh,
Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. I'm sorry to
So
undermine, but that's insanity. I'm so sorry.
yeah.
thank you.
But
Yeah, it's
common
been
as well, though. But it's very common for this to happen to patients, unfortunately.
yeah,
Where
it's super common, and I mean, the family part of it, they weren't around it, so it's insulting, but fine. But I went into this expecting doctors to help me and learned that that is not the case. Doctors have caused a lot of medical trauma for me, and it took 5 years before a doctor finally said, yes, you have CRPS. Please do these things. And then even he said, if you're unwilling to be happy with no pain management for the rest of your life, I can't help you anymore. You can leave now. Um,
That's
so
awful.
did
It's
you have
so
your
sad.
service dog? Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say it's so sad that we struggle with this pain. It takes us so long to get diagnosed, and then there's no empathy at all. There's no,
Yeah.
there's nothing. So sorry, that's the brain. That's what happens with me with my CRPS. I start to stutter, but I'm sorry you went through it too. There's so many stories that we hear about medical staff that just don't get it, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier
And
that your service dogs were supportive to you, and I could imagine absolutely life-changing. By this point in time, through the awful journey that you went through, the perseverance that you showed, mind you, to continue your courses and to continue with the horses. I personally know how difficult that is, and I admire your strength for pushing through. But now that when you had your service dogs, did you have them through that part of your journey once it was confirmed as CRPS and
sort of,
okay,
um,
just learning about them?
yeah, I got formally diagnosed at the very beginning of 2015. Um, and we brought up with the neurologist we were seeing, hey, we're considering a service dog. Have you heard of anything like that for CRPS? And he said, well, no, but they do help with mobility issues, which you definitely have, because by that point it had spread to the left side as well. And he, which I now know is not required by law, but I do have a doctor's note for a service dog. Um, and that's when we started doing a lot more research into it and looking into what our options were going to be. And that led us down a different insulting path. Um, I got turned down by a lot of both rescues and actual service dog programs who believed a multitude of things, but the primary two theories were that either I would be in so much pain that I would not take care of the dog adequately, and the other recurring theme was that I would be in so much pain that I would abuse my dog in order to not be in pain alone.
Oh my goodness. I just got goosebumps. That's horrible.
You're helping people through this now, right?
Yes.
Sally.
And we we were sitting around one day and we were just like, well, okay, but like you trained horses for most of your life. I started training horses when I was about 15 and then went to college for it. And even though I couldn't ride, I switched, but I still finished with an equestrian degree. Um, and one of my favorite things to do is just read animal training books to learn from it. And so we said, well, why can't you just do it yourself and just take the horse training? And we found a local dog trainer who was also experienced with horses. And so he helped me learn how to translate the horse stuff to the dog stuff and got me started. And then we picked out our first dog. We picked him out through Missouri's Puppies for Parole program, which is an awesome program if anybody's looking to adopt a dog in the US. I don't know if Canada and Nova Scotia have similar programs, but
We
offenders
don't.
who are on um, good behavior, I'm not quite sure how the selection process goes, but they're teamed up with shelter dogs and teach the shelter dogs basic learning skills. And then that helps the worst case reject shelter dogs get adopted. Um, and then my first dog was actually a bit of a mess, but he was the perfect challenge for me. And so it worked out great because I taught him and he taught me. And it was a really good starting point, and I learned so much from him.
So can I ask, with the dogs that you choose, does it have to be a certain breed, or do you use any breed?
It depends on what a person needs. Personally, for myself, I like starting with older shelter dogs. So I like starting with a shelter dog who's around 1 year old because I have a better sense of their temperament and also how well they're built. It's important to me to pick a dog who's helping, especially with mobility, that that dog is built mostly correctly so that they're not going to develop hip dysplasia or back problems or things like that. Um, from all of the work that we ask them to do. And I like shelter dogs because it gives me a better idea of how big they're going to be when they're full grown, which is really important information. Um, and get such a fun mix of breeds to experience and work with. I've got Austin here beside me. He's 5 different breeds in one body, and so it's a lot of experience points there. Um, I've got one client right now who I helped find a dog through a shelter system up in Montana where they're based. And then I've got another client in the state of California, and I helped her find a breeder. Her first dog was a German Shepherd, but unfortunately, she had to be washed out due to health reasons. And so she restarted with another breeder and now has a poodle who is working successfully as a service dog.
Really?
Yes.
Can you give us a bit of idea? So you've already mentioned, one way they could help you is through mobility.
Mhm.
What other ways are they helping CRPS patients?
They prevent flares from happening.
Really?
Yes. So, what we have found to be the most helpful is nailing down what a person's known triggers are. And it's a difficult conversation to have with people because I know for myself, for the longest time, I said, I don't know what is causing this pain. Please stop asking me these questions. Um, so I've developed a list of questions or a list of statements, and I run through them with people to figure out what their triggers actually are in a way that feels less like a doctor interrogating you. Um, and once we can figure out specific things in their day-to-day life that reliably trigger pain, we go through, well, what of those could a dog do? And the more things that a dog could do, the less things that person does, and it doesn't trigger that flare from ever happening.
Wow, that is amazing. I've just got goosebumps again. That's amazing, though. Like, I would never have thought of a dog. I mean, I use my dogs just for emotional support, but
Yeah.
I would never have thought of a dog being able to help us in so many ways. And I bet you there's many warriors out there that don't think of it because
No. And it's kind of a hard thing because dogs can be extremely painful for CRPS just by being dogs. Um, they bark, they jump on you, they paw at you, they pass closely by you. There are days where even my own dog licking me hurts, right? So it's also about finding a way to teach the dogs how to be exceedingly gentle with each person they're working with. And that's why I teach people to train their own dogs so that the dog isn't learning from me, the owner's learning from me, and the dog learns about that particular person's pain. So they also learn little subtle signals that the person gives off, which helps increase the dog's learning. So they do things like help us up off the floor. And I had, when my poodle client finally got to learn bracing, um, she said it was the easiest and least painful way she's ever gotten out of a chair is using her dog for support. And that's just one thing. Opening doors is a huge trigger for people with upper body CRPS. But when you figure out ways for the dog to help you do it, think about how many doors you open in a day. It's ridiculous. And so doing that over and over again adds up. And the more times the dog does it, the more we have energy and pain spoons to go do something else, like wash dishes or hang out with friends. Um, and it depends wildly person to person. I'm really active, and so Austin knows uh, about 13 different tasks, He helps with everything from helping me stand up and walk and open doors to in the winter he brings firewood into our house. Um, so it's a lot, and every person is different, and I help cater it to them. But basically, the dog helps prevent what flares they can. Um, can't prevent all of the flares because they can't do all of the things. So they also help during a flare and help with the recovery process after, so that recovering happens a little bit faster than it would if the person didn't have the same level of support.
I think the emotional support too, like the intelligence levels and the abilities of a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Just personal story, real quick. My father, when I was growing up, he trained German Shepherds. And so my family dog was able to do anything, and everybody always thought it was impressive. The RCMP
Mm-hmm.
or the police thought that he was so amazing. They wanted to buy his dog. And he said no. So then they asked him if he would train the dogs there. No, no, no. But the things that they could do, they could get things for you. They'd come
Mm-hmm.
to you if you're in need of help. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the emotional support is really truly something. That's a question actually I was wondering. Now, I do know that some service dogs and some service animals, you're not supposed to overwhelm them with loving and kindness and stuff like that. With the way that you teach things, is that an appropriate, that's probably hopefully an accepted method with what you do, isn't it?
Well, it depends on what you mean by most of that sentence. Um,
CRPS brain.
and that's my CRPS brain responding to your CRPS brain. Um, okay,
Um,
so
go ahead.
yes, they provide emotional support, but it's measured out. So if we give them too much love and too few rules during the training process, then they develop behavioral issues that then backfire and one, take extra time out of training a service dog, and two, hurt the person with CRPS. Um, but I typically, if you're asking about treat training, yes, no.
Sure.
Um, certain things I teach, we use treats for, but I try not to use treats in everything because it actually increases the excitement level of the dog, which means more pain flares for the person training the dog. Um, he gets plenty of love, but the second that he starts to fly off the handle and get too excited to where he's hurting me, we remove some of that love and create space again so that he's calm and loving me in a good way, not a
Then
explosive, excited way.
this is exactly what I meant then. CRPS
Okay.
brains are connecting. Look at them go. Um, so then do you find Austin then demands love from you? I know some dogs will
Um,
like call for attention or something, or he respects you and you guys meet in the middle.
we meet in the middle.
That's beautiful.
But I'm also more in tune with him if we're learning something new. If we're learning something new or if he's just having an off day, I stay in tune with where his brain is at. And if we need to take a break from what we're doing to play instead, we absolutely do that. And then we go back to learning the hard stuff.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's important.
Oh,
Because I know some people kind of frown against service animals because they think, a dog needs to be a dog, but no, it's a bond between the two. He's servicing you, yet you're servicing him in a way as well.
Yes. And it's actually, they get mad when you take their job away.
really?
Like
Yeah.
horses.
Um, when we retired my first service dog, Robbie, you know, you can explain to a person you need to retire because of this, this, and this. And even people have trouble retiring, right? You can't explain that to dogs. And Robbie unfortunately had to be retired due to he developed calcification on his shoulder tendons. And so he had to be retired for that reason. But he was still dead set on, okay, I I don't feel good, but this is my job. Why aren't you letting me do my job? And there were some things that he would let go of. Like he was okay with not being asked to retrieve things anymore. Wasn't a big fan of retrieving things to begin with. So it was, but the bracing, which was by far the worst thing for his sad old man shoulders, he would not let go of. So if he was convinced that I needed help getting off the ground, he would put himself in the bracing position and stamp his feet at me. I had to fake brace on him to let him think that he was still helping me.
Really?
Yeah. And I have it on camera.
Oh my goodness.
Because he did it one day when I was shooting demo videos with him for, I have a online portal where my clients can watch extra videos to help them learn. And so I was trying to finish up videos with him, and he would not go play with a toy until he got me off the ground.
Oh,
And like when I was training Austin, I had a few months where we retired Austin, or we retired Robbie, but before I had Austin. And those months were really, really hard because it was like being kicked off a cliff. I went from having daily support with the CRPS to having none, and having now a geriatric dog that I needed to take care of, who was also in pain, which was hard on both of us. And when I got Austin, had some stuff to learn. He was a teenager. He was a 76-pound teenager with a lot of energy who was learning the rules. And he kind of beat me up a lot most days. And there'd be some days where I'd come in like limping just from normal pain flare, but it was things my body wasn't used to in a while. And Robbie would glare at him. Like he would come in the house with Austin, and Robbie would just be like, I know she's limping because of something you did.
What did you do to my mom?
oh my goodness. That is so funny. I just wanted to ask one question for our viewers. I know it's probably different with every client you have, but
Mhm.
is there a general range on how long training for basic necessities of a service dog?
The general rule of thumb is 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
And you'll hear that from all the good service dog trainers. What I find with people with CRPS is that it's a little bit more fluid than that. We can't really train just a bare minimum basic service dog, because we are also trying to train a service dog who is exceedingly gentle with us. A lot of Austin's commands are positional commands, so that I'm not having to bodily move him where I need him to be. And that takes extra time to teach. The way I teach clients too is sessions are usually every other week, but flexible to somebody's flare. So if somebody texts me and says, hey, I cannot move, or my brain is just not here today, we rearrange the session. So I'm very flexible. And so sometimes there's 1 week between sessions, and other times there's 2 or 3 weeks between sessions. And that takes more time to teach. I'm currently working on a platform that will allow people to finish the dog with me and then go back and add tasks as the dog ages up and like self-study on their own.
Oh,
Because one thing that we've found too is like, as my CRPS progresses, we also go, oh, wait, actually, I need this other task now. And so I want a way that people can get that level of experience without necessarily having to come back to me if they need it, so that I'm not just training people for 10 years.
right.
Smart. That's very smart.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
But one of my clients right now has actually been training with me for 3 years, because her first dog washed out of training due to medical issues. And so then we had to restart the process. So while technically her current dog has had 2 years of training, she's been working with me for 3 years, because I'm not going to give up on her just because the first one didn't work out.
Aw. Oh my gosh, I'm like full of goosebumps because I am so like proud of, I don't even know you, but I'm proud of you. Um,
Thank you.
you know, for what you've done for some of these CRPS patients, because I would never have thought of a dog, and I'm gonna get all emotional. But thank you. Thank you for what you're doing, because that's amazing. Oh,
You're welcome. Thank you for saying so.
You were reading my mind, Christine, and I'm glad that you got emotional because normally it's me crying on this podcast. But I have thought about having a service dog. I have an elderly cat. Unfortunately, one day she's going to pass. Once that happens, service dog is the route to go because again, my aspect is the emotional thought of it is they have so much emotional support to offer, and again, the physical thought. I wouldn't have even thought of a dog being able to assist you from getting up off of the ground. Like
Hmm.
Sally, you are making a huge difference, not only for CRPS patients. I'm sure you help chronic pain patients and chronic illness patients too. How long have you been doing this for?
Um, I have been, my business officially opened in 2021. So I've been doing this for 4 years. But I work with clients so slowly that haven't had a ton of CRPS clients. And I'm okay with that because it means that I'm able to customize things more uniquely to what they need. And we're also playing our own uh, gamble with my CRPS body of how many clients can I actually handle working with at one time. So right now I have officially 2 clients, and it's not just dog training, it's also CRPS life coaching and helping them see the connections between the dog training and like being more patient in their day-to-day lives, and helping them work through days where they feel really guilty or beating themselves up for not trying hard enough. And I remind them that they are trying extremely hard. I include when my clients get a course certificate for passing a course, I send them a free sticker that has some sort of phrase on it that I've designed for them. And the newest one I designed is a heart that says, you're struggling the exact right amount, which feels very true for both dog training and CRPS life.
Yeah.
But it's a lot I have to always make sure that I'm in a good place myself as well to make sure that I'm strong enough to keep working with them. And I do offer to other people with other types of chronic pain and illnesses, but so far everybody's had CRPS. So
Absolutely. I know with what we do with Conquer CRPS and with Painfully Fabulous, it's important for us and you as well. You got to put yourself first a little bit. Know what your comfort levels are, because what you are doing is truly making a difference in your clients' lives and everybody that you connect with online. You've been part of the Walk and Conquer CRPS for a few years now. You shared your story as the CRPS Warrior of the Month. Sally, you are an inspiration and truly a blessing, not only to the dogs, but to the community. As I'm going to put your website on here, of course, for everybody to follow you as you get all these other platforms and everything, programs established. Please keep me updated so we can keep our followers updated.
Yes, absolutely will.
I just we had a bunch of questions written down and we didn't do not a single one of them. We didn't, because we kind of
a lot of them were covered. They were covered a little bit here and there. So yeah,
covered. I'll probably jump right down to the very, very, very bottom there, and then we'll jump into a fun part.
Okay.
And we've kind of talked about this a little bit. How has CRPS changed your life, both good and bad?
Cool. Well, the good is all of the people I've met who actually trying to think of the right way to say it living with something like this kind of scrapes off who you think people are and shows who they really are. And so I've met a lot of people who I wouldn't have thought would have been lifelong friends through this, but turned out to be the exact right people I needed in my life. And I, I wanted to try and be as ultra professional as possible, but the reality of it is that my clients and I end up spending so much time together that we develop a friendship as well. And it's helped me see who genuinely has my best interest at heart and who actually does not. And that's a bit of the bad. My friend circle is massively small, and my family who raised me disowned me when I advocated for my disability. So that was horrible. Um, but I spent 10 years trying to teach them about CRPS, and I thought they understood. And it turns out they thought I was exaggerating, and they were lying to me every time they were supportive. But it, helped me learn. And now I have new life experience to share with future CRPS warriors. I never imagined I would shoot professional baseball a day in my life and that I would be really good at it. So that was a really cool thing to do for a while. And it showed me that I am incredibly resilient. I had a horse trainer who kept telling me that when I was growing up, and I don't think I ever fully believed him, and I believe him more now. But it also just amazes me that, I knew from a young age I wanted to train horses. And I'm not training, they're kind of small horses. They're a lot more furry. But the animal training had that strong of a hold in my life that I found a way to return to it and take all these little pieces from my life and build something as amazing as Disabled Advantage has been really, really cool. And I take better care of myself now.
Really?
I didn't used to exercise. And now I'm I'm a little bit forced into it. I also have a really, really rare chromosomal disorder where if I lose muscle tone, it's very difficult for me to regain muscle tone. So I have to basically never stop exercising.
Oof, that's going to be hard with CRPS.
It's incredibly hard with CRPS.
Yeah.
But it's also gives me so much to be constantly proud of myself for, because it goes back to the dogs. I used to only be able to walk a quarter of a mile, and because I have a dog helping me, I've been tracking it for November awareness, and so far in November, I've walked 26 miles with my service dog.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm
Got me. I knew I'd cry.
I'm really hoping I get to 30 by the end of the month, just because that would be really cool. But like they need exercise and I need exercise. And I have to stay strong for the business and for myself. And it's a very symbiotic relationship. And then also I never would have imagined making new friends and connections with people in Nova Scotia and Canada and across the country. And I get to go to other places virtually. I get to learn about Montana or California or Utah. And I mean, it's a horrible condition, but I actually have a pretty good life. And I met someone amazing who's incredibly supportive. My boyfriend met me 3 years into CRPS and then married me and stuck with through all of the craziness. And
gosh, that is amazing in itself. So that goes to show any of our viewers here, because we have a lot of people that are single and say,
they exist.
Who's going to want me? How am I going to meet anybody? Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still single and say that sometimes, but
Just so you know, everybody, Christine's single.
Well, and like I still have my own anxieties about it sometimes, and like we were trying to plan a date night, which is super hard with CRPS because I can't go to movies, I can't go to entertainment venues, like I can walk. That's about it. I can walk my dog. And we were trying to learn about foreign maze, and they had zero information about accessibility on their website, and they wouldn't answer any of our texts or phone calls to ask about accessibility, which was not cool. And so we ruled out going there, and I felt really bad about myself. And I said, I'm so sorry you have to deal with all of my problems. And he said, we're not dealing with your problems. They're our problems. And if they're not going to accommodate our accessibility needs, we don't need to be there.
he sounds
So
amazing. Are you sure you don't want to give him up?
I'm very sure I don't want to give him up. He is amazing. But there are good people out there. It's kind of hard. It's hard to find them.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
have been a blessing to talk to today.
Absolutely.
Now,
Thank you.
we're gonna cut this off here in just a few minutes, but me and Christine have a silly thing here that
Okay.
No.
we
Kristen-
have to do it.
Kristen has a silly thing.
Well, Christine, you got to take part in it because you're part of Painfully Fabulous, my love.
All right.
So we have, as you see, we go up and down on the emotional roller coaster. We get to know you and your CRPS journey a little bit. I'm sorry for crying. Christine cried too this time, though. We got video proof. We're gonna lighten up the mood a little bit before we go. A little bit of smiles. So we don't have a name for this segment yet, but we ask these same questions to every person that we interview. One of these days we'll have a name for it. They're pointless and silly and fabulous question period. Sally, we're going to let the world really get to know you now, if you don't mind answering these couple of questions.
Go for it.
All right. Sally Fowler, what is your second favorite color?
Blue.
Nice. What's your first?
Bright green.
Oh. Tomato or tomato?
Tomato.
Nice. What is your hometown famous for?
Sadly, I think tobacco.
Mm.
Okay.
150 days without a cigarette today.
Yes. Good for
Go,
you.
Christine.
Is a hamburger a sandwich?
It is its own special category where people with TMJ can have a sandwich that day.
I love that answer.
She's brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, she's brilliant. Okay. Night owl, early bird, or always exhausted?
Oh, early bird. I want to be up at 6 a.m. cleaning stalls.
Oh.
Nice. The barn life, right?
Yeah, the barn life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you rather sneeze glitter or burp confetti?
That is such a hard one. My massage therapist says I don't breathe, so I don't really know if I can burp all that well. I guess sneeze glitter.
Yeah, you wouldn't want all that confetti stuck in there, would you?
Oh my gosh. Well, now everybody really, really knows you. Thank you so much for answering those random questions and for lightening up the mood. Sally, is there anything else you'd like to leave our audience with before we go?
Yes. Austin, wake up.
Austin!
Let's go.
I was going to ask you for pictures, but good morning, Austin.
Yeah. Hi, buddy. Listen. Oh. Or pause. I know. It's the wrong chair. Pause.
Oh, she's in.
Oh, boy.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Austin. Aw.
Good boy.
This is sleepy Austin.
Aw.
But
He
even
is doing
help
full
out.
pause up on the chair with me right now.
Oh my gosh. He's so sweet.
He really is.
Aw.
My heart. I'm going to show
Um,
my husband this episode and tell him that we are
I
definitely getting a dog now.
think the biggest thing I would leave other CRPSers with is don't give up on yourself. I know it feels incredibly hard right now, and I know you're probably really tired of people telling you that because I got tired of people telling me that. But
No, it's
you can find such creative ways to still do the things that you love if you're willing to open your mind and deviate from what you used to do. There were a lot of things I was resistant to doing because it was different and it wasn't the way I wanted to do it, right? Um, and the way I want to train dogs is in person, but the best way to help people is like this, virtually, and it works for everybody. So,
yeah. So it doesn't really matter where anybody is in the world. Really,
exactly.
you can reach.
And it, like, even if a service dog isn't the right choice for you, I do CRPS coaching just to help people sort through all the jumble in their brain. And the number one thing I keep telling people is find a CRPS friend to talk to who has been through a lot of this stuff, who's a little more seasoned, because they're going to help you from doing the spiraling where you're on the internet until 4 o'clock in the morning reading all of the worst case scenarios with CRPS. And I am one of the worst case scenarios with CRPS, but I don't look like the textbook pictures of it. So it is possible. A lot of hard work, not easy, not fun. I don't have days where I don't have days where I'm lower than an 8 out of 10 on the pay scale anymore. Um, but it's so worth it to find a little bit of joy in your life, even if it's small things like being able to make yourself hot chocolate. I mean, that's a little bit of a brain fog sentence, but yeah,
Perfect.
mainly just don't give up on yourself.
It's perfect. And if you aren't able to do the things that you used to be able to do, Sally's perfect proof right here. You can adapt and improvise so that you can overcome and conquer because you're not alone. Don't forget, Conquer CRPS is available to learn more about CRPS. Sally, we are going to have her business listed everywhere for you guys. She's going to be on our social media too. Check out the description box below. My battery is apparently going to die, so I really do have to go. But I want to thank you, Sally, so much for joining us today. Thank you for being on Painfully Fabulous and for all that you do for chronic pain patients around the world. Truly.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
You have given me so much hope and so much information that I've suffered with this for 21 years and never thought of, a service dog. So you have really inspired me. So I know you've inspired many. So thank you for coming and being with us today.
Thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate the invite. And I have you guys listed on my website as a resource that people should go to.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was fantastic to finally get to meet you both.
You too, Sally. And that being said, we will stay in contact. I'll get you on Conquer CRPS too. I'm not sure if I have you listed yet. Teamwork makes the dream work, and we're stronger together. And together we will conquer CRPS. Christine, baby, send us on
out. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified of our next upcoming episode. And stay painfully fabulous.
Bing! She nailed it, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell below to get notified of our upcoming episodes. And stay painfully fabulous.
Bing!